Hey house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 21 updates and spoilers. Our house guest of the day is Evil Zank 44. What up, homie? Thanks so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we really do appreciate it. So thank you again so much. And if you guys want to be house guest of the day like Evil Zank 44, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. Alright, so when we left off yesterday, there was some uncertainty about who the replacement nominee would be. And when I say some uncertainty, I mean it was a freaking shitstorm. So obviously Nick has the veto, so he's gonna be taking himself off the block. But now it's like, okay, who is gonna go up against Sam? And is Sam still our target, or is it gonna be Nicole? So Holly's like, okay, I can put up Kat as a pawn and get rid of Sam, or I can put up Nicole and then they can get rid of Nicole. So this debate is ongoing. Jack, Jackson, and Holly are chatting in the HOH room. But first, Jackson is complaining about other people's kitchen habits. He suspects Nicole is opening new containers of things before the current one is finished, and he can't take that. So then he was joking that they should put Nicole up for doing that. Yo, you've got a lot of nerve for talking about other people's food habits when you got your whole, it's like a walk-in full of skeletons. A walk-in closet full of skeletons. It is insane. Okay, so anyway, moving on. They were discussing whether Nicole or Sam should go this week, and they're trying to determine if Nicole is actually a threat to them. I really don't see why they feel like she's such a big threat. I don't get it. But they're like, okay, well, I don't think she's hiding any athleticism. Doesn't seem like she's got the coordination. They're wondering if maybe she's some sort of secret genius, or is she really just like the quirky girl this season? They don't know. But Jack is asking, okay, well, is there any benefit to keeping Sam? Give me some pros and cons, because he says right now all he can see is cons. So Jackson says the only pro is if the three of us and Sis split from the six and strike up a deal with Sam and Nick, making a new six to take out Tommy and Christi. Ooh, what? So this is interesting because this is one of the first times that this idea is being presented to Jack, who we know is like obsessed with Christi. So Jack's like, okay, but at that point, are you just gaming too hard and making chicken salad out of chicken shit? That's one way to put it. I've never heard that one before, so okay. Jackson says, I'm not pitching this idea right now. I'm just trying to figure out what the pros would be, and that's the one that I'm thinking of. So Jack promises he's not going to mention this to Christi and Tommy, and he's also wondering, you know, is it too soon to break up the six? Do we really want to create this division right now for one pro when we have like 8 cons that would be against us? He's not thinking this is a great idea at this point. And Holly also seems to feel like it's too soon. There's still 6 people left that are outside of their group at this point. It's 6 in the 6, obviously, and then 6 outsiders who at the moment don't seem to be together, but you never know what would happen if the 6 started attacking each other and then, whoa, they're not the majority anymore. So she's feeling like we should get rid of some more of these outsiders before we start going after each other. So Jack is like, okay, yeah, but keep in mind, it's not like we have 6 people coming after us right now. Nick is trying to get back in with us. Cliff and Kat are bought and paid for now. Oh, whoa, bought and paid for? What the frig? And, you know, that being said, he feels like, I don't think we should agitate it right now. We're in a good spot. Why mess with this when we got something good going? Okay, so moving on. Christi and Tommy debut their new look. So before they had their poison ivy punishment with the bathing suits and the like splotchy red on their skin, but now they're still in the same bathing suits, and on their skin they are covered head to toe in dark, well, I guess bright pink calamine lotion. That's rough. That's gotta feel like so gross on their skin. Ugh. It kind of reminds me of Miss Argentina from Beetlejuice, but instead of the green skin, they have pink skin. I mean, it's fun to look at, but that must be really uncomfortable. And speaking of Beetlejuice, if you guys are in the New York metropolitan area or going on vacation, definitely check out Beetlejuice the musical because it was so freaking good. And if you're not in the area, just, you know, peep that soundtrack on YouTube because it is lit. Okay, anyway, that was not sponsored. I just love Beetlejuice the musical. Okay, so Christi let us know that it is the lotion or paint or whatever it is that they're using is green apple scented, so it's not all bad. And they use some sort of like airbrush machine, and they have these like goggle outlines of their faces, so that's fun. Yeah, apparently they have like all sorts of rules too for while they're wearing this stuff because Big Brother doesn't want it getting all over the house, and they don't want to have to redo it a million times. So they're still not allowed outside. They don't want them like sweating a lot, and I can't remember what else they said, but basically they don't want them doing anything that's going to really mess up the paint. Okay, so then a little while after that, Tommy was holding rehearsal for the upcoming Big Brother flash mob. So a few weeks ago, we saw him teaching a routine that's supposed to be set to the beginning of We Will Rock You by Queen. So first he's giving them some sort of intro to get into it because he wants this to be like flash mob style with them like throughout the house. So he's like, okay, we're gonna walk to our places, we're gonna clap, and we're gonna do this and that. And then he starts going over the dance again that he taught them a few weeks ago. Apparently this flash mob is scheduled for tonight, Monday night. I want to say 6 p.m. Big Brother time, so that's Pacific. I'm hoping they'll push it back just a little bit so everybody who watches on After Dark is going to be able to see the whole thing and not miss the beginning, because it's really not that long. So I don't know if they're going to repeat it or whatever, but I would hate to see everyone miss the routine because they were showing that screen at the beginning of After Dark where they're like, yo, we're not responsible for anything these people say. So I don't know, maybe they'll push it back a little bit. I mean, how often do they actually do things on time anyway, right? All right, so then a little while later, Christi and Tommy were chatting in the boat lounge, and Christi's got some things to say about Jack. She says that Jack is like a fair weather friend. Ouch. Because he hasn't been having as many game chats with them the last few days, and she's noticed he's still talking a lot with Jackson and Holly, so like what's going on there? He's supposed to be in a final 3 with Tommy and Christi, but he's not putting in the time, so like what's going on? She says Jack will suck whoever's ass is in power, and that's it. Oh! Okay, but then Tommy is like, but don't we all do that? At least he's self-aware, right? And Christi says, I don't. Okay, so then Tommy says, well, you kind of did that with Cliff, didn't you? Yeah. So Christi's like, I had to do that because I needed him to make that deal with me and like pull through on that. Always an excuse, right? Okay, well anyway, Christi really feels like Holly is leaving them out of the game talks this week. It's making her really uneasy, making her really nervous, and she feels like Holly is just letting Jackson make all of the decisions this week. So Christi says if Holly and Jackson really start pushing for Nicole to go this week instead of Sam, probably means that they're working with Sam and Nick, and that probably means that they're just keeping them around to take out like Christi, Tommy, Jack, Sis, whatever. So that's not good for Christi and Tommy. And Christi's like, you know what though, even if Sam does stay, she feels like maybe she could actually pull him over to them anyway. I don't think so. Okay, so I mean, unless Christi won HOH, then of course Sam would be like, yes, I'll do whatever you want. Okay, so Tommy is saying he's actually really happy that Nick won the power veto because he wanted Sam to go in the first place this week anyway. He still wants Sam to go. Tommy feels good with Nick. He says he loves him. He thinks he's trustworthy. He just kind of like effed up a bunch of times. Wouldn't that make him not trustworthy? Okay. But he seems to really love Nick, and Christi's like, she says she loves him too, but she's not sure how much they can trust him. But Christi is saying, even if Holly does decide to put Nicole up on the block, she feels like they can still send Sam home, because there's a lot of people outside of the 6 who would want to keep Nicole over Sam. And she says if Jack and Sis are still on board to vote with us and get rid of Sam, we don't have to necessarily vote the way that Holly wants us to. Woo! No offense, Sam. Honestly, I don't want to see Sam, Nicole, or Kat go home, but it would be interesting to see a split vote and see a split 6, right? That'd be a lot of fun. But Christi says, I'm not gonna help Jackson and Holly strengthen their new alliance that they're gonna use to take us out. No freaking way. So they're talking about what competitions they want to win. Tommy reveals that he's been, you know, not trying as hard as he could in the last few competitions, but he really wants to start winning in like 2 weeks or so, because then it's really going to start to ramp up. That's when they're really going to be making the power moves. And Christi says she wants to win during a double eviction. That is the time to strike. And Christi says she really wants Jackson out. Ideally, she would like for someone else to take him out so she doesn't have that blood on her hands, but she's thinking about it and she's like, who would actually do that? You know, who would have the guts to do it? She's thinking, I might just have to do it myself. Okay. So then Christi says she's done taking out the Jesses and the Nicoles of the house. They aren't a threat to her game. She wants to go after actual threats to her. And she would like to take Jess far because she feels like she's going to be really easy to beat. Alright. So then Christi, Tommy, and Sis were in the boat lounge. And Sis, oh my god, she really has it out for Nicole. She cannot stop talking about how sketchy Nicole is. She says Nicole doesn't talk game with anyone. Really? Just because she doesn't talk game to you doesn't mean she's not talking to anyone. But Sis says if we get rid of Sam this week, then Nicole should go next week and we can keep Nick around for now. And they agree with her. They say, yeah, it would be great. Like, Nick still loves you. And Christi says, once Sam and Nicole are gone, Nick is not going to have anyone, and he's not going to be dangerous without them. He's going to have to come to us. Tommy says, Nick is going to need someone. And Sis, you can be that person to pull him back in. And then Sis is like, yeah, but he told us he was going to put us up. That's not what happened, but okay, sure. So anyway, Tommy is telling Sis, you should have a one-on-one chat with Nick, kind of clean things up a little bit. Let's get this ball rolling. And she says, yeah, I'm going to. So then Jess comes in and that conversation is over. So then Sis and Nick were talking on the hammock a little while later. And Nick is like, oh, I was telling Tommy that I want to win HOH and I want to regain everyone's trust. You know, I'm going to show everyone that they can trust me again by not, you know, putting you guys up. So Sis is like, I don't care about the rest of them. It's more about me. Oh, okay. Interesting. So he's like, okay, well, how can I prove it to you? You know, all I can do is win and not put you up. And she's like, yeah, but I don't want you to just prove it once. What the frig do you expect him to do? I mean, really. So Nick's like, okay, well, I won't put a time limit on it. You know, I want to work with you, blah, blah, blah. Ugh. It's so sad because Nick has said to the cameras, I mentioned this so many times before, but he has said if he does continue on in this game, and now we know he will because he won the veto, he said he would not go after the 6 because he doesn't want to just then leave the following week. It's so disappointing. I'm hoping if Nick were to win HOH next week, somebody would talk some sense into him and get him to go after the 6, but we'll see. So then Kat was up in the HOH room with Holly, and she's like, I've been trying to talk to you all freaking day. People were in here playing backgammon. What was I supposed to do? So she's asking Holly about the plan for this week. Like, am I going up as the replacement or what? So Holly's like, I don't know. How do you feel about it? So Kat is listing off all of the pros that she can think of for her going up as a pawn. So she's like, well, it'll cover up that we know each other. It'll cover up that we're working together. And it'll cover up our final 2 deal. However, Holly says that she's kind of worried if she puts Kat up that Cliff's Angels are going to get pissed and think that she's actually targeting Kat, and that they will want to retaliate and go after Holly. Because let's not forget, Kat spilled Cliff's Angels to Holly the other day. Oh, don't be the new Bella. Don't do it. So Kat's like, I don't know that you really need to worry about that because I don't really trust all of Cliff's Angels. She says she does trust Jess. Nicole, no. Cliff, she feels like Cliff has her back, but I don't know. She doesn't necessarily think that Cliff would like target Holly over this. Yeah, she doesn't feel like they would go after Holly for retaliation because they're really not that close. It's not like a super tight alliance. But Kat is nervous that if she goes up on the block, Jackson might take this opportunity to try and flip the vote on her. I'd be kind of worried about that too. For real though. So Holly assures her that won't happen. It's gonna be a unanimous vote for you to stay if you go up. You never know. Okay, so then they're talking about the possibility of Nicole going up and leaving this week, and Holly says Sis is really for that. Sis really wants to keep Sam around because she feels that he would be a number for her. She's been working a lot on her relationship with Sam. She's starting to see some returns on that, but now, whoa, Sam might be going this week. So she doesn't want to lose all that work that she's put in. And Holly's like, yeah, that would be a number for Sis, but he wouldn't necessarily be a number for me. So, I don't know, is it really beneficial for me to keep him around? So then some other topics they discussed. Holly brings up how Jack seems to be running the show, steering the ship at this point. Is he though? Or is Christi? Because I feel like whatever Christi wants usually has a way of happening, and I feel like Christi has a lot of sway over Jack, and I don't know that Christi would always necessarily listen to Jack, you know what I mean? So I feel like she is actually the one running the show. But Holly says it scares me how good Jack is. Obviously he's very good at competitions, physical, mental. He's also got a good social game. People love him. And Kat says, you know what? That kind of player never wins. That's because you need to take that person out. Normally, people would be targeting that kind of player, but for some reason this season, it's not really happening yet. I mean, Cliff went for him, but other than that, people are like, oh, Jack's so great. We gotta keep him around. All right, so Kat also brings up some concerns because she's supposed to be working with this alliance of 6 now. She's number 7 in the 6. And she's worried that they're just gonna continue to use her as a pawn, and like as number 7, she's just there for the 6 to use. Bingo! That's exactly why they brought you into the group, if you can even consider that being brought in. So Holly's like, oh, I don't think that's the case, but even if it is, at this point, what do you even do? I mean, she says it's like, you gotta take what you can get. Oh my God! Run, Kat, run. When you hear that, it's time to leave. You gotta bounce. Get out of there. So Holly says, you know what? There's already people within the 6 that are making plans to target each other. So you just might be able to slide through the cracks and, you know, make it further into the game than some of these people in the 6. So you never know what could happen. So then Kat's like, okay, top secret information time. Holly promises to keep it to herself. We'll see about that. So Kat shares that last week, here we go, Bella is back. Bella is possessing Kat. Kat says, Christi and Tommy were saying that they're not going to final 6 with couples, and they said that they wanted to break off from your group and work with me, Cliff, Jess, and Nicole. And that is absolutely true. These are all things that Christi and Tommy were saying last week. Remember Christi with her dream team final 6 or whatever that she was talking about? So Kat says, I'm gonna be real. This is, you know, all that talk has kind of fizzled since last week ended. So maybe it was just because Cliff won HOH. I don't know, but I just wanted to let you know what was being said last week. So Holly was like, what's she gonna do with that info? I don't know. So it seemed like by the end of this conversation, the plan was still to put up Kat as the pawn this week and get rid of Sam. Okay, so then it was time for Sam to campaign to Holly again. And he is like, I just want to let you know, my friendship with Nick is done. He was a little salty about it, but I gotta focus on my game here, you know? So he says if he stays, he's gonna keep that up until the end of the game. It's not like he's just gonna stay and then be all buddy-buddy with Nick again. He's lying! Oh my god, it's classic. I'm gonna have a fake fight with my friend and pretend that we're not working together, but we are. This very, very, very rarely works, but it's always fun when people try it. And it's fun to see who's actually fooled by it, sis. Okay, so Sam asks, is there another threat who you're not that close to that you could put up as a replacement next to me? And Holly's like, I can't really think of anyone, you know? I'm close to a lot of people. Sorry. So eventually she says, well, I guess Nicole is really the only other person who caused any sort of drama with the whole Bella and Nick scandal. Really? The only other person? Stop. So Sam is like, okay, well, wouldn't it be a win-win for you if you put 2 big threats up on the block and then you just like let the house take somebody out? You know, you're guaranteed to get a target out, a big threat. And he's telling Holly, I would never go after you. You could use me moving forward to make moves. And Holly just keeps saying, like, I don't want to go against the house consensus. That's not a good look for me. But Sam is just like practically begging her to put up another threat, Nicole, so that he at least has a chance to campaign and stay this week. You know, it's pretty much a done deal in his eyes if Kat goes up on the block. So yeah, I don't know if that's actually working on Holly, but she is very like wishy-washy about it. Okay, so meanwhile, Jack and Jackson were chatting outside and they agree that Christi is the most powerful chick, NPC, in the game. So Jackson's like, do we really want her at the end with us? She would destroy all of the mental competitions at the end, and frankly, these guys are not super, well, I guess Jack is, but Jackson is not super confident in his mental comp abilities. So of course, he doesn't want to be going up against Christi. But if you think about it, obviously, he's not gonna want to go up against Christi anyway, because he probably feels like Jack and Christi, there's a good chance that they would take each other to the final 2 and not him. So he's like, oh, what if it's like us and Holly? Because he knows that Holly would take him to the final 2 and not Jack. Okay, so anyway, Jack says he was planning on going to the final 3 with Christi and Jackson. He's like, you don't want to do that anymore? And Jackson keeps saying, no, Christi will win if she makes it to the end. And Jackson's like, yeah, but I don't know that people would vote for her. Like, her mouth is always getting her in trouble, blah, blah, blah. So Jackson's like, she gotta go. This is pretty bold for Jackson to be saying this to Jack when Jack and Christi are super tight, right? So Jackson's like, we gotta figure out, how long do we keep Christi around? At what point does she change from being beneficial to our games to being a detriment to our games? We need to find that point, and that's when we need to get rid of her. So he says we also need to think about how we're gonna go about that. We don't want to damage our own games doing this. So he's saying, you know, Sam and Nick, they would be willing to take that shot at Christi. Not a lot of other people would. Do you really think Nicole would want to put up Christi? Jackson says no. So Jack is sitting there listening to this, but he does not seem into this at all. He's just sitting there like, yeah, like no eye contact. He's just like, You can tell he's very uncomfortable. So I don't know, is Jack gonna spill this to Christi? A real-time update, as of right now, I have not heard him mention this to Christi yet. So I'm not necessarily saying that he's going along with what Jackson is saying by not telling Christi, but I think he's maybe just trying to keep the peace and trying to keep the 6 together for now. And I do still feel like Jack would probably side with Christi over Jackson, but it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I guess a lot of it also would come down to who's in power at the right time. So anyway, Holly was still going back and forth last night. Do I put up Kat? Do I put up Nicole? Do we get rid of Nicole or Sam? Oh, it was freaking torture. So Jackson is, you know, kind of pushing for Nicole to go up and out, but Christi and Tommy are both pushing for Kat to go up and evict Sam. And this is really deepening the cracks in the 6. And, you know, all this information is starting to come out now, a lot of it via Kat, about people, you know, targeting each other from within the 6. And Christi and Tommy feel like they're really being left out of the loop this week. Christi is like freaking ready to blow. So in other news, Jackson is trying to build up his own little army for the future. So he's talking to Cliff. He actually asks Cliff to work with him and Holly moving forward. He says at this point it's too early to go against the 6, but he's planting seeds for when the time does come. So Cliff is like, yeah, I'm down to work with you guys. No, Cliff, no! I hope he's just saying this because he's like biding his time, and obviously he's not gonna be like, I will not work with you. But Jackson says, you know, it might not be a bad thing if Sam stays this week. Cliff does not want Nicole to go. No, stop it. Okay. So then last night, this was kind of weird and unexpected. Things got a little bit heated. So Sam, Christi, and Jess were all in the Target bedroom, and they were really the 3 that were like involved in this conversation, but Jack, Cliff, and Tommy were also there, and they were more just like listening to what was going on. So at first, Sam was saying that he voted out Bella last week because they were friends and he was loyal to her, and he doesn't think he should be punished for that because there's been so much talk this week, kind of like a bullshit excuse. People saying like, oh, Sam and Nick are up on the block because they voted against the house for Bella to stay. I mean, obviously they're gonna do that. I kind of like really miss the days of pity votes, or like not pity votes, but like sympathy votes. Why can't you throw out a sympathy vote every once in a while? But anyway, yeah, he's like, what else was I gonna do? And Christi's like, okay, yeah, that's fine, whatever. But then she starts asking Sam, were you actively campaigning for Bella to stay? And Sam is denying it. He says, I may have been in the room when Nick and Bella were campaigning the people, but I wasn't like actively campaigning for her to stay. So Christi's like, well, I heard that you were telling people that it would be stupid to keep Jack around. And Sam is still denying it. He's like, no, I didn't say that. So at this point, like, things are uncomfy in the room, but they're still calm. You know, it's not really like popping off. But then Jess starts chiming in because she's like, oh, what? Like, we definitely had a conversation like that. And then Sam, that's where he gets pretty ticked off because we know that Sam is not a fan of Jess. So when she starts chiming in, the voices start rising. The voices start rising. So Jess is like, Sam, you were in a 3 with Nick and Bella. You were in the room with them when they were campaigning. Like, you guys were a unit. And Sam's like, okay, but I don't remember personally saying those things. He admits that he did say, yeah, we're all left at this point. But he doesn't remember campaigning hardcore for Bella to stay. Okay, so anyway, they kind of work out all their shit. It comes up at some point that Sam was really annoyed with Jess Number 1, for saying that he had like a childlike aura about him. Number 2, he was really upset one time when she like asked him about this mole that he has and was like, have you gotten that checked out? And he was like, I've had this my whole life. Like, I don't know, it was some stupid crap. But they were kind of like hashing that stuff out. Something tells me that Sam still does not like Jess. Okay. But anyway, the 6-shooters are messy as hell right now. But basically what it boils down to is Christi versus Jackson. So the question is, who's gonna strike first? It seems like at this point, it's not gonna be anything crazy this week because they had the power veto ceremony today. Nick used the POV on himself, and then Holly nominated Kat as a pawn, which means that it's Kat versus Sam. And at this point, it's not looking good for Sam. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the next 3 days. Will Jackson make a push for Kat to go so that Sam will stay and he can use him as like a weapon? I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm really curious what you guys think about all this. And today, was also a special day because Cliff Hogg, yay! Cliff gave us another shout out. If you guys want a flashback, cameras 3 and 4, 12:11 p.m. He was talking about the puppet shows and he was telling Nicole about it. So I'm really glad that Cliff enjoys the puppet shows, and I hope he has fun watching back this season's puppet shows after he gets home. So, I mean, these shows are Cliff Hogg endorsed, so if you guys haven't checked them out already, I'll put a link in the info below for the latest one. And thank you guys for all the love on especially this week's puppet show. We went in a little bit of a different direction with it, and the response has been lovely. So thank you guys all so much for the support. I'll see you tomorrow, and until then, much love.